Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, episode 40 of NHL 25. Again, thank you for everyone that has tuned in regularly, as this is a much different change than my prior Who Should You Choose seasons. It's been fun to just yap for 20 minutes every day. That being said, today is Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving to all of my American viewers yesterday. Hope you had a great holidays. That being said, we do have a lot of comments to go over, and I also want to start today's episode just by giving you guys a heads up. So, never, and I mean ever, in NHL 25 spend points or real money to buy packs. It is the only way that we're going to see change from the content team. So, that being said, this pack in the store right now, I don't know, seems extremely desperate. It is easily the most insane value that we have got all year. This pack, the Elite Starter Pack, it's untradeable. It contains a base X Factor, an 83 overall team builder, and an 82 power-up icon. It's vintage or modern. You don't get to choose. You should be doing everything you can to max out on these packs. As it stands right now, it looks like they're resetting like every 8 hours, and you can only open 3 at a time. All right? Do not spend points on this. I reiterate, please do not cave and spend points on this. All right? But you should dump all of your coins into these packs, and here's the reason why. Even if you already have Supercharged McDavid, or you've got a hologram, and you're not really working towards another one, just the 83 overall team builder, which you cannot get a duplicate of, mind you, is worth more than the 90,000 coins that this pack costs. So try as many times as you can, and if it resets and we get it again when the timer runs out today, make sure to try and take advantage of as many as you can, because this is a desperation pack. This is absurd. To put it in context, the X Factor pack that comes out periodically, it was about 10,000 coins cheaper, and you only got a X Factor, right? So this is just absurd. So I wanted to point that out. But let's get into the questions or the comments from the last episode prior to the drop of the new XP path. So NHL says, hello, is there anywhere to access VODs of your streams? I'm already subbed on Twitch, but my work schedule doesn't allow me to ever tune in at 10 a.m. for the morning streams. Was hoping there was some kind of way to still watch these after the fact, even if it's behind a paywall. They sound like an awesome time with the highlights and general shell talk. Would love to watch them. Thanks. I, unfortunately, do not keep VODs on my channel for various reasons. I've found over the course of my career that having VODs and clips on, there are a lot of people on the internet that want to see people just absolutely get burned, and out of context stuff, it's just peace of mind more than anything. Also, I play a lot of music from Spotify, and it can flag if you're playing copyright music and things like that. So unfortunately, that is why I have VODs turned off. I am gonna dabble with, I might try and upload the stream to YouTube. The problem is that I wouldn't be able to play, I don't think I'd be able to play the audio of the 5-minute recap, because that would get copyright claimed. I would love to. You find a way around that, but I'm just not sure. So I do apologize, but that's the reason why I don't have VODs on my channels, on my YouTube channel. Jaden says, I have no idea why EA hasn't implemented a button player select option on defense similar to button passing. This would fix the inaccurate player selecting on defense and make defending DD one-timers easier to defend. I believe NBA 2K does button select on defense as well, and it's great. I said this before they even came out with button passing, that was one of the things that I was talking about, like an NHL 20 to the dev team, because yeah, I agree. The manual player select doesn't really work all that well. It does a little bit by holding down right trigger and using the right thumbstick. You can aim where the player select is, but it doesn't work every time, especially when defending the rush when you've got 2 players back and 1 player in the middle. It's very hard to select that player in the middle. So I'm in total agreement there. I've been saying that for a couple years now. Ace Sleeves, now the 86 Fox is out and the X Factor captain can be upgraded to 86. Would you do the upgrade if, like me, you plan on making Series 1 McDavid? I'm 12 base X Factors away from McDavid, and Fox is currently my second righty defenseman behind Makar. I'm struggling with the fact that I don't get 100% of the resources it costs to upgrade Fox back when downgrading him to use the McDavid set. I'm planning on taking Fox B and D because with Seeing Eye, he's absolute fire. So if you're going to take Fox back, I wouldn't upgrade him now. I would wait until you get McDavid and then that way you don't have to refund it. Obviously, getting the +1 would be nice, but you're going to lose half your resources, right? So I would wait until you do the set, take Fox back, and then do the upgrade once you have him BND. The game says, "Hey Sleeves, I want to get your thoughts on reverse hitting. I feel like every time I go to hit someone, I get reverse hit, even if their players are very small. As difficult it is to poke check in this game, the alternative is to hit them, and they just reverse hit every single time. There's no way to counter it. Also, a lot of the time, I feel like the line changes are absolutely broken in this game. My players are tired, and I manually change the line, and I have 3 separate players from 3 separate lines on the ice. It's frustrating because then all 4 lines become unusable. That's one of my biggest frustrations. Is that when you get when you go to change a line and every line is dead tired because it makes no sense how that's possible. Like I love the fact when you get literally lines 1 through 4 of your forward core, it's like halfway, they're all yellow, which makes no sense at all because there's only 3 players on the ice at a time. Like that one kills me in that situation. Um, I hope that they need to do a patch in their next gameplay patch that fixes and addresses line changes because it's absolutely a mess. I almost want it to be because what it seems like now is when you manually play or manually line change, it waits until it's like they deem it a good time to go and change, right? I would love it if it just immediately, no matter the situation, even if it's like not ideal, like in a hockey sense, if they immediately go change, right? I would love that, but it is very frustrating. NHL 25, it's a mess. In terms of reverse hitting, if you run into someone that is reverse hitting you, all you need to do is skate towards them and then stutter at the very last second. You can tell early on if someone is massively spamming reverse hit every time. But what you want to do, I wouldn't poke check because odds are you're going to lose the puck or you're not going to win the puck battle because of offensive awareness on a lot of cards being high. So what I do is every time I run into someone, when they do the reverse hit, they lose the puck, and you could just take it. Maze Jolt says, "I loving the content as always. Keep up the great work. So, question: buckle up for a rant." He says, "The content this year has not been good. No one has been liking like only 6 team of the week players, no prime times. Kucherov got 900 career points and no special card. Hagel had 5 assists last night. No card. Crosby 600 goals. No, Crosby did get a milestone card. I don't wish for people to get fired, but this content team has underdelivered so much this year. So why does EA continue to let them continue? Why does EA continue to let them fail? Maze Jolt is European, so English not the first language. If I sucked at my job, I would either get fired or be moved to a different position. Soon enough has to be enough. This can't continue. Sorry for the negative question. Keep the great work. So I am also in the same vein of that. I don't want people to lose their jobs, especially over a video game. But one has to wonder if there's performance reviews because I've worked 15 years in an office environment, and if I wasn't doing very well and the results were underwhelming, I would get in a lot of trouble. I don't know what's going on in the background. Pack sales have to be down because if they're not, then there's no hope. But I feel like there won't be a change in terms of personnel until there is a significant reduction in pack sales. But I'll be honest with you, like I think the season 2 XP path was a step in the right direction. But yeah, like I think it all just comes back to it does not appear that there's anyone on the content team, or at least the ones that make the big decisions of what content goes out, that has grinded Hut before. I've stated that for over a year now. It really doesn't feel like there's anyone that has been obsessed with the game mode, even for a year, not like currently, just a year. So they have like an elite understanding of it. It makes me feel like there should be a contractor that goes over the content and not doesn't have the final say, but just, hey, we're releasing this content. What do you think? That person gives them their feedback. Maybe they make some changes. It's not guaranteed, but I just think it would go a long way. That way you avoid things where the community just hates it, right? I think that some of their ideas are really good. They're just so poorly executed because they're executed by people that just haven't grinded Hut, so they don't have an even casually, right? Like the casual players, they don't have them in mind, right? I personally don't want to be on the content team simply because I can't make content anymore if I do that. And it's not an easy job, you know. I mean, it's easy in the sense that like you're not doing backbreaking labor, but obviously you're hounded daily, but like I said, I just think that the people that are there, I don't think they're dumb. I just think that they might be in the wrong position in terms of the NHL video game. I've said that since the beginning of the game. So, Watt says, Mr. Sleeves, I know you hate giving market tips, but don't think based on past games after Black Friday the market will go back to being overpriced. I'm assuming you're meant to say, don't you think, based on past games about. So right now, guys, again, I don't like giving actual market advice in terms of buy this card for X price, because the second I do that, it will just go and tank it. Again, I will say this all the time. There's two instances. Go and look when there is a 25 to 30% reduction in a cost. So, for example, let's say 80 to 81s and maybe even 82s are significantly cheaper than they have been in the past. Maybe spend all of your coins investing in them, because when the packs in the store don't have those cards guaranteed to come out of it, that's when you see a massive, reduction in course correction. So when you see packs in the store that are like, here's 20 tradable 78 overall items, go and have a look at what 78 overall items are going for. Don't spend money on the game. Don't spend coins buying those packs, because you're not guaranteed anything. Go and buy 78s, right? Like, that's an example of what you should do, right? The other safest thing to do is go and look at the card that is +1 overall, whatever the highest trade-in is currently. So let's say, for example, 83 overalls, I believe the next gen is the highest rated card. Not the guaranteed, not the next gen 83s, but it requires 83 overalls in the set. Go and take a look at what 84s are going for, and it will be roughly around the same price as 83s, because 84s are not used for a specific set. You can always invest a ton, and then next month, you'll have to wait, and you're sitting on all your coins. You can then sell them for quite a big profit. So again, I can't give you an exact price, but that's the mentality that you want to do if you want to run the market well, right? So, Bonjour, I thought about a way to make less desirable players, MSPs, more viable. The best way is to adjust endurance for those players to even out the playing field. Since endurance is a pain point, add endurance attribute to players like Draisaitl and Kachuk, who never get good hut meta cards. Leveling the playing field with endurance will make some MSPs more online viable. Also, when the PWHL cards come, it would make female cards more viable too. Also, for those who don't really join the daily recap stream, you are missing out. Only thing I look forward to during work hours. Us dads need some entertainment. Keep the good work, buddy. I appreciate that, my man. Yeah, that's an interesting point. We've talked a lot about endurance lately, and it being a massive issue. I agree. I think that if you have a slow player that has high endurance, it does kind of beat them. So like when they come out over the boards immediately, like to start the game or whatever, the faster players still have that advantage, but they lose that advantage a little bit as the period or game goes along. So I do think that would be a great way to kind of counterbalance that. Hey, Slaves, I just got a PS5 to play NHL 25, and I'm usually a Christmas player. Christmas noob. God bless you. But this year, it seems that I have to play more hut moments than usual and not play the game I want, but then my team will be behind. Any recommendations? Thanks for the great video. So, the Season 2 XP path, which we haven't talked about, is definitely a step in the right direction, where if you ignored all of the chores, you still would be behind everyone else that grinded all of it, but not nearly to the same degree as during Season 1. So in the Season 2 XP path, they give you enough to just play Rivals if you want, but you have to anticipate you're not getting any of the new cards you want, but you'll get enough to not be so far behind, which is a plus, but it's still, like I said, I rated the Season 2 XP path like a 5 out of 10. It's 5 times better than Season 1, but it still doesn't allow you to get any of the chase cards or good cards and work towards them. And then when we haven't seen what happens when the new events and stuff come out, I have a feeling that it won't be any better. It'll still be, you got to grind squad battles in moments. So I found that when I climbed 1800 to 1850 SR, you can't just play the game. You have to do the circle 1T, and the game is more fun at 17 to 1750 skill rating. Brother, preach. I live in like the 1900 skill rating, and if you watch my streams, I don't get overly angry at losses, simply because I understand what I have to do to win, and I don't always feel like doing it because you're really playing the same game over and over again. And that's just the reality of the situation. That's not just NHL though. Like that's every sports game. When you get to a certain threshold, like you got to be doing the exact same. You're not playing. I say this all the time. The better you are at the game, the more you play the game and less of the sport. And that's a balance that all sports games battles with. So, hey slaves, as we come into December, I thought packs would get better. But unfortunately, isn't true. You think by now some of these packs would provide at least something. Honestly, I miss the rewards we used to get at least when we had a chance to pull a purple. And so far this year, I haven't even seen one. This year's NHL 25 overall is a plus, but the rewards are definitely a miss. Yeah, obviously the reward structure is so drastically reduced. We've talked about this a ton. You're not getting that weekly dopamine dump of just here's a ton of packs, right? And I think that we're entering like a new era of HUT. I think that like in 3 years, it might be okay. Something that they did in this XP path is that, they allowed us to make those giant packs. So the legendary pack or whatever it's called, 60 collectibles, which is you can only earn 120 in the XP pass. So you can only open 2 of them. It's a guaranteed 86 overall player item, which is quite a bit in the sense. I don't think there's ever been a pack in the store that allowed that, right? Like to guarantee yourself one of the highest overall cards. That really hasn't ever been in the store. So, kind of interesting. I'm also wondering if it includes MSPs, because it's very specific. It's not 86 and above, it's 86. So I agree. I think that, again, I've said this before, as long as the XP path has all of the reward options that we got in Rivals and Squad Battles, it is the ultimate way to do Ultimate Team, but they haven't done that yet. They've done a little bit better in season 2, but I agree we're missing that big, that big release of that. Hey, slaves, which 2 X Factor captains are you going to keep as B and D? Given if you've been playing the game and you've been grabbing all the good defensemen, I would just go with Nylander and Kucherov. For one, Kucherov has been extremely noticeable still. He's still one of the best cards. Nylander, not so much. And Heiskanen, unfortunately, I think needs elite edges. And because he's not getting any upgrades, he's kind of fallen low in my lineup. But that's I would go with the 2 forwards. Bonjour, slaves from Calgary. I've been a long-time HUT player, but hadn't played since NHL 22. The vids, especially the strategies video, was a big help to knock off the rust. I just wanted to shout out your tip to change things up when you're snake-bitten and going through a bit of a losing streak. I started off champs last week 2-7. I couldn't score for the life of me, and Gamebreaker Hellebuck was playing like Swiss cheese. After swapping in my backup goalie and changing my camera view from zone to overhead, I went on an 8-2 run, including winning my final 5 games to finish 10-9, clinching 10 wins for the first time in champs this year. Anyways, keep with the videos. Been watching them every day since buying the game. Love to hear that, man. Yeah, like if you haven't watched my strategies videos, something that I do talk about is that changing if you're losing and you're getting frustrated by losing a bunch in a row, especially in Rivals, because Rivals is literally intended for you to go 500. I would change your camera view. If that doesn't work, switch your goaltender just for a peace of mind, not because it'll work. And then third, change your lineup. Just put players randomly. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily need to go buy someone new. You just need to mix it up just to get a little bit different look. Cam, my man, it's been great watching you grow over the years. I paid attention to your vids since 6 months prior to you quitting your job. My goodness, I quit my job in 2019. It's been a minute. So it's great to see you mature mentally when it comes to the game we all love. I'm 51 years old, Div 3, 50-50 champs player. I'm all for the fun games. Sweaty is fun, winning is fun, but not the end-all be-all if the game is fun and your opponent doesn't play like a D-bag. Keep it up. EA keeps trying to kill the spirit of the game, but hopefully we can keep spirits up while we transition into whatever they're doing over there in Burnaby, BC. I appreciate the comment, man. Fumbler, I actually recognize your tag. I don't know if you used to watch me on Twitch, but I definitely remember your tag, my man. So appreciate you watching for so long. And I couldn't agree more, man. As I've gotten older, I just care less and less, about not so much that I don't care as much about winning. When I lose, I don't snap my chair in half like I literally used to. Hey, slaves, I kind of went all out on the next gen event, hoping to guarantee myself all 3 upgrades or potential Team of the Year trade-ins. I have Celebrity, Michkov, Stankoven, Cutter, Hudson, and Wolf. Holy smokes, brother. Since I kind of went all out, I was wondering if I should also just go ahead and build Askarov. I watched his last 2 games. He's playing pretty good. Can he overtake Wolf in the Calder race or any of the forwards? No. He can't. If he started at the beginning of the season, maybe, but I even don't think it would have mattered because the Sharks just don't win enough. So, while he plays great, It's like Blackwood. So Blackwood's goals against is absolutely brutal, but he faces 50 shots a night, so his save percentage is half decent, minus the Ottawa game that just happened. So no, I would only build. I think you kind of went way overboard anyways on this event, but it is exciting because they do technically upgrade at the end of the year. As it stands right now, I'm a firm believer that Celebrini is going to win the Calder, and a lot of that is A, bias, but B, I watch him every night, and he is figuring it out, not just offensively, but defensively. He's one of the best players, not just among rookies in the NHL. It's crazy at 18 years old. In Michkov, it's harder for a winger, and Stankoven, I think, is just not going to get the same minutes and opportunity as the other two. Hudson is going to be minus 4,000 because Montreal just can't defend. Cutter doesn't score enough. Wolf, in my opinion, it's Celebrini, Michkov, and Wolf. That would be my guess. I think that Stankoven slows down a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me. 3 of those 4 will be. I'd be pretty confident in saying that. So, all right, hey Sleeves. What I don't understand about your endurance argument, wanting to use your best players more, is everyone is using their top 6 by far the most anyways. Go into stats, and at the end of the game, you'll see your best forwards have about 25 minutes played or more with power plays, and the bottom 6 have about 15 minutes combined. I still have many games where my fourth line barely even touches the ice without worrying about my top 9 being too trained. Personally, I would much rather have the current situation of sometimes being forced to roll 4 lines than play how it used to be in past games where line 1 and 2 basically played 50 minutes because you were rarely in a situation that you were low on stamina. For me, it would be really lame to basically play in Ultimate Team mode where half of your roster would be rendered pointless because the endurance is so high. I always take player of the both sides of an argument when it comes to this game because this is all subjective. Something that I think maybe you're misunderstanding or not seeing the total argument of the other side about endurance being a problem is that while everyone has their top 2 lines playing most of the game, they're playing most of the game with their entire energy drained because line changes are a mess or they get stuck out there. So you're playing all of those minutes with those players still, but you're doing it while they have no energy. And it's crap. Like, it sucks. That part sucks, right? I do like the fact that it forces you to roll your lines a little bit. I do agree with that. But I think that there's probably a little bit better of a happy medium in the middle there somewhere. But yeah, the top 2 lines definitely play 50 minutes, but it's like half of that is they're completely dead. So, hey Slaves, I haven't missed a video this season. Because of that, I built a full lineup. I have a lot of built up questions and suggestions that I'd like to hear your opinion on. First of all, you always talk about how the second XP season better be a banger. If it is the absolute banger that you talk about, what does that mean for the third season? Will the third season just poop the bed no matter what, or will they have to meet up for the standards of the second season? So this is before the second season dropped. I think that the content team is using NHL 25 as a beta test to completely change the fundamentals of how we build a team and how it actually works from a content standpoint, which sucks as the user because we just lived through it. Whereas it was a lot like NHL 23, where gameplay, they didn't do any updates for it, and we just basically beta tested NHL 24, where there was a lot of changes in NHL 24. So I think that every season has got to improve. And then eventually, probably in 2 games by NHL 27, the XP path will actually be pretty sick and we'll know what to expect. And hopefully we fall into a groove and we'll be in a really good spot. But this season, they're just trying things. You can tell that they're just trying things. So, also, one suggestion I have when you've been talking about the icon holograms, I feel like it would have been a good idea to make them work like the X Factors, have only choose 8 per season and have 4 captains and like a chase card like Gretzky instead of having every hologram like Gretzky, Lemieux, and how all available right away. It kind of defeats the chase. No, keep the great content. I love listening to these on my way to practice every morning. Thank you, my man. Yeah, like I think my way is, or the way that I would love to see icons work is, I enjoy that they made them all very close and similar, right? Because we've had the same like chase big icons. So it's always been go get Lemieux and Gretzky, right? I think one of the best ways to do it would be builds. And I would love to see Hut go to a build system where a 99 power forward is not 99 in every attribute. It's 99 in certain attributes, and then other attributes are capped. And then like sniper, for example, they can get to 99 shooting, but their body checking is capped at 75, and then you would have 99 holograms or the 99 power up icons of each of those player builds, right? I think that'd probably be a better way to do it. But I do enjoy the fact that like a Ginla is hologram is it's not as good as Lemieux and Gretzky, but it's not that far off, right? Like I actually kind of enjoy that this year, but I would love to see them go to a build format in future years. That's going to do it for this episode of Who Should You Choose? The new event will be coming out today. The Protect the Net event. I'll have a full breakdown like I always do. But thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.